what's up YouTube? It's your boy Triple M King with another video. We got today Japan's... Damn, we got my phone, sorry, my camera's battery's low. We got Japan's infamous female killer with 6 different faces, okay? Interesting, let's jump into it. Dang, yeah.
In criminal investigations, when the victim's identity is discovered, it's a major breakthrough. And if the identity of the perpetrator is found, the case can sometimes be solved almost immediately.
Almost.
But what happens when the criminal goes to extreme...
Man, this lady has a very... let me say, this is a person I do not want to disappoint. She won't say I'm disappointed or... Like, just the look be like, I'm sorry. Just don't look at me like that. You know, she has that face.
Lengths to hide who they really are. Imagine a perpetrator with 7 different identities, each backed by a convincing story. This is the case of the 7-faced murderer.
Dang.
Japan's first criminal to ever have a bounty placed on her head, Fukuda Kazuko.
A bounty? They don't have bounties in Japan? Okay, official government bounties. They don't have that? I think in South Africa we don't as well, but I think there is one. And so, dang.
In 1982, a woman's body was discovered, buried on a mountain in Matsuyama City, Japan.
Matsuyama City, Matsuyama. I got it. Maybe I gotta visit there. You know, everyone talks about Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. That's the only town. That's the only cities I know. I gotta visit there. I gotta visit.
The victim had been strangled, and it was clear from the start that this was a murder case. Identifying her wasn't difficult since she was buried close to her home.
Damn.
As police began their investigation, they noticed her belongings were missing, and the case was classified as a robbery, murder, and abandonment. The victim was known as the top hostess at a local bar. She had been strangled, but other than the mark around her neck, there were no other signs of trauma. The police questioned her family, friends, and coworkers, but none of it brought any new information to light. A few days later, something strange happened. The victim's father was alerted to suspicious activity in her bank account. Someone had tried to withdraw money, which raised alarms because his daughter...
Oh, it's the 80s. It's 80s. Oh, so they don't have ATM cameras. They don't. Dang it. And in Japan, it's very old-fashioned, even though in some things they're very old-fashioned, so they don't have cameras.
Was obviously no longer alive. He reported this to the police, who quickly started investigating the account. Around the same time, the victim's lover informed the authorities that some things were missing from their shared room, prompting further investigation. Initially, the police thought the perpetrator had slipped away under the cover of night, but then a key witness, the apartment staff, reported seeing 3 men and a woman loading furniture into a rental truck. This was a major breakthrough, as it allowed the police to track the truck using its license plate. From there, they traced the rental records and found a name connected to the case. Armed with this information, they paid a visit to the renter's family home to begin questioning. When the police arrived, Kazuko Fukuda's husband greeted them at the door. During the interview, he shockingly confessed that he was the one who buried the body on the mountain, but he claimed he did so under Kazuko's orders. As soon as Kazuko heard the police were coming, she fled the house, taking a taxi under a false name, and thus began her life on the run. Kazuko's details, her appearance, height, and other identifying features were broadcast nationwide, and she was officially wanted for murder and abandoning a corpse. Now, this is where things get really interesting. As the case dragged on and the media coverage intensified, Kazuko's attitude became more daring. But before we jump into the chase, let's take a look at Kazuko's life leading up to this point.
Backstory time, baby.
Kazuko Fukuda was born on January 2nd, 1948, in Matsuyama, Japan.
Matsuyama. I'm gonna research on that city.
Her early life was far from easy. Her mother reportedly ran a brothel out of their apartment, and there's little information available about her father.
You'll never know with those cases. You never know who's the father.
It's believed that her parents divorced, and her father disappeared shortly after.
Dang.
Kazuko's childhood was unstable, as she and her mother moved frequently before her mother remarried a fisherman. During her high school years, Kazuko fell in love with a classmate, but tragedy struck when he was killed in a car accident. This loss deeply affected Kazuko, and she dropped out of school, emotionally scarred by both the death of her boyfriend and the abusive environment at home. The dream of having a stable family shattered, as her parents' arguments became a nightly occurrence, making home life unbearable. Eventually, she ran away. In 1966, at the age of 18, Kazuko's life took a darker turn when she was imprisoned for robbing the home of a high-ranking official in Japan's tax agency. While serving her sentence, she became
Wasn't that when the Yakuza was active? So you were messing with the wrong people, man.
embroiled in what's now known as the Matsuyama prison incident.
Damn.
Despite being housed in separate quarters, male and female inmates could still interact in certain areas of the prison, and Kazuko, along with other women, was sexually assaulted by male prisoners who had bribed the guards. The predators later took their own lives. After serving 2 years, Kazuko was released at 20, and soon
2
married
years.
her first husband, though the marriage only lasted 5 years. In 1974, Kazuko remarried, and she and her second husband had 4 children. After a
Okay, so she had a kid with the other guy. Cool.
childhood filled with trauma, including being in close proximity to a brothel, surviving sexual assault in prison, and enduring other hardships, Kazuko Fukuda finally seemed to have found some stability. She was living with her family, enjoying life, well, for a while. But Kazuko's taste for luxury quickly spiraled out of control.
Great.
She lived far beyond her means, shopping for
That's the tipping point. That's the red flag right there, sir. But hey, you love her though. That's your wife. I'm not gonna say much more.
expensive clothes, bags, and other high-end items. In front of friends and acquaintances, she would boast about coming from a wealthy family, putting on the facade of a lady of fortune. She spent her days partying and gambling. But as her luck
You got 5 kids, man. What are you doing? 5 freaking kids, bro.
ran out, she found herself in a serious financial crisis.
The Yakuza.
To maintain her lavish lifestyle, Kazuko borrowed money from multiple sources, including loan sharks, until her debt ballooned to a crippling 2 million yen.
Let me calculate that real fast. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be fast, but let me calculate that fast too, if I could. Should I ask even ChatGPT? 2 million yen to rand. Let me see, what's the result on that one? Dang, bruh, 2 million. It was back in the day, but yeah, I know, but still, dog. It's not loading. It's not loading my entities in the 1960s. Because currently it's 240,000 rand. 240,000 rand in South Africa currently. So if I had to check, how much would it be in the 60s? How much? So no, it's only just 250,000 rand now. 200. Dang, inflation hit them hard. Dang, bro. You're not bouncing back from that. You are not bouncing back from that.
Desperate to pay off her debt, she took up work as a cabaret hostess under the alias Hatsumi Takai. In this new world, she quickly became involved in several relationships, trying to secure financial support from wealthy clients. However, the glamorous life she was chasing always seemed just out of reach. Things took
Isn't she in her late 20s at this point, or early 30s?
a turn when a new hostess, Atsuko Yasuoka, joined the cabaret. Atsuko was everything Kazuko wished she could be: beautiful, elegant, and adored by many. She wore luxurious clothes and carried herself with confidence, quickly rising to become the #1 hostess.
Great.
Atsuko's cheerful and bubbly personality made her a favorite among clients, allowing her to earn significantly more than Kazuko. Watching Atsuko thrive while she herself was drowning in debt only
Your
deepened
fault.
Kazuko's envy. Jealousy consumed Kazuko. Why should Atsuko live such a luxurious life, she thought, while Kazuko struggled just to stay afloat? The resentment festered until it became a twisted motivation. She began plotting how she could not only eliminate her competition, but also solve her mounting financial problems. One evening, after work, Kazuko approached Atsuko with a seemingly harmless request. She asked if they could spend time together, mentioning that she admired Atsuko's charm and wanted tips on how to succeed as a hostess. Wanting to be helpful, Atsuko agreed, not knowing she had just set herself on a path that would end in tragedy.
Bro, she's willing to give you, like, the game plan of how she gets more money, bro. Like, come on, bro.
On August 19th, 1982, Kazuko visited Atsuko's apartment. The sight of Atsuko's home, filled with simple yet expensive furniture and lavish decorations, ignited Kazuko's jealousy once again. This was the life she
Really, ma'am?
dreamed of but could never attain. At some point during the visit, Katsuko snapped. Grabbing a towel, she strangled Atsuko to death in a fit of rage and envy. After the murder, Katsuko returned home and confessed everything to her husband. She convinced him to help her steal Atsuko's belongings from the apartment, telling him it would solve their financial problems.
No.
To complete the plan, she even enlisted a relative to rent a moving truck, explaining that her friend needed help relocating. Unbeknownst to her family, this was all part of her plot to erase the evidence of her crime and take over Atsuko's life. It's said that Kazuko took Atsuko's
Dang, bro, that's crazy.
bank information, which included an account with 9 million yen, enough to completely clear her debts.
Where the hell did you get that? She could have taught you all this information, and you could have made that money back. Plus, yes, madame, why you dumb? Why you so dumb?
With her husband's help, Kazuko emptied Atsuko's apartment, taking her furniture, clothes, bags, and other personal items. But she didn't steal these things to sell. Her goal was to erase any evidence and make it seem like Atsuko had voluntarily disappeared. In Japan, there is a cultural phenomenon where people sometimes leave their homes in the middle of the night, cutting ties with family and friends to start over somewhere new. This practice often stems from the pressures of Japan's harsh work environments and societal expectations.
Yeah, true.
Kazuko used this idea to craft a cover story, making it appear as though Atsuko had simply walked away from her life. But
they discovered the body before they discovered the house, so that just immediately ruins the plan.
Kazuko could carry out her full plan, Atsuko's boyfriend unexpectedly came to the apartment. Panicking, Kazuko pretended to be a new tenant and left a false message, posing as Atsuko. Once the boyfriend was gone, Katsuko's husband and their relatives helped move Atsuko's belongings out of the apartment. But Kazuko didn't take Atsuko's things back to her own home. Instead, she stashed everything in an apartment she sometimes used to meet with her lover, a man who had no idea that Kazuko was married or about her deadly plot.
Damn.
After dropping off the items and saying goodbye to their relatives, Kazuko and her husband drove 18 kilometers to Matsuyama Mountain. It was there, in a remote area, that they buried Atsuko's body, hoping no one would ever find it. The next day, Kazuko tried to withdraw money from Atsuko's bank account using the stolen.
That's when the father said it was suspicious. Great, just great. Wait, was it the father or the husband? I think it was the husband.
Passbook. This transaction raised red flags with Atsuko's family, who quickly sensed something was wrong.
It was dad. My bad.
Wrong. Soon after, Atsuko's body was discovered. From there, the investigation gained momentum. As I mentioned earlier, the police traced the rental truck, contacted Kazuko's relatives, and eventually tracked down her husband. He was arrested for helping Kazuko cover up the murder and dispose of Atsuko's body. But before his arrest, he made one last attempt to reach out to Kazuko, who was already fleeing to Kanazawa City.
Kanazawa, okay, that's another one on my list I need to add.
He urged her to confess to the police, but Kazuko, determined to stay free, ignored him. In Kanazawa, Kazuko adopted a new identity, calling herself Shinobu Onodera. She found work as a hostess at a snack bar, but by this time, the police had already circulated her photo and details nationwide.
Dang.
Fearing someone would recognize her, Kazuko made her way to Tokyo, where she underwent cosmetic surgery.
She could afford that? Okay, wow.
To alter her appearance. Confident in her new look, she returned to Kanazawa and resumed her life under her false identity. But on the 39th day of her fugitive life, things took an unexpected turn. Kazuko was on the phone with her lover, chatting casually about her day. As the conversation went on, she started to sense something was off. Eventually, she realized that the police were with her boyfriend.
They were,
listening in on their call. Realizing the police were tracking her location through her phone, Kazuko came up with a clever trick. She manipulated the signals, making it seem like she was in Kansai instead of Kanazawa. The police, unaware of her deception, followed the false trail to Kansai, fully convinced they were closing in on her. Little did they know they had fallen right into Kazuko's trap, allowing her to stay one step ahead.
Dang.
Time went by, and Kazuko, now living under her new identity,
What about the kids? She abandoned the kids, bro. Yeah, it's people.
as Shinobu Onodera, seemed to have settled into her new life in Kanazawa. A year had passed since she had murdered Atsuko, and she found herself working at a snack bar where she caught the attention of a regular customer, a married man who owned a confectionery shop. Their frequent interactions soon turned into an affair, and before long, the man divorced his wife to be with Kazuko.
The
They got
hell?
married, though they never officially registered their marriage. Kazuko helped him rebuild his shop, and under her management, their business thrived.
Yay.
As she settled into this new life, Kazuko stayed in contact with her son.
Oh, okay, at least.
She eventually called him to come live with her in Kanazawa, introducing him
Ain't that suspicious, my guy? Ma'am, you're gonna get caught. Yeah, you abandon your kids, but now you bring your kids into this, you're gonna get caught. You know what I'm saying?
to her new husband as a relative's child. The husband, unaware of the truth, took the boy in and had him work as an apprentice in the confectionery shop. Over the years, however, he began to suspect that this relative's son was actually Kazuko's child. He noticed how close they were, but despite these suspicions, life went on relatively peacefully for 5 years.
Dang.
One day, the husband came across a wanted poster of Kazuko Fukuda near his shop. He questioned Kazuko, asking if she had ever heard of this woman. Although this rattled her, Kazuko skillfully lied and managed to avoid suspicion, at least for the moment. But in February 1988, everything came crashing down. After years of evading capture, the police finally figured out that Kazuko was hiding in Kanazawa. They had received new information from her family, and they were closing in. However, Kazuko fled, leaving everything behind once again. After 5.5 years in hiding, she disappeared from Ishikawa Prefecture. Kazuko fled to Nagoya,
Nakuya, second place. Maybe I should visit there.
adopting the name Kuramoto Kaoru and working as a cleaning lady. Despite the plastic surgery, her resemblance to her old self raised suspicions. Fearing exposure, she kept moving, switching jobs and identities. In May 1988, she left Nagoya, leaving a transient life for the next 8 years while staying in contact with her son, even reaching out when he got married.
Dang.
As the 15-year mark of her escape drew near, Kazuko Fukuda had already lived in more than 15 different places,
Dang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay, cool.
constantly changing her identity and even altering her appearance through plastic surgery 7 times.
Dang.
She had evaded capture for nearly a decade and a half. But as the statute of limitations on her case was about to expire, Kazuko reemerged in Fukui, seemingly unshaken by the years of living as a fugitive. With less than a year left before her crimes would go unpunished, the Ehime Prefecture police made a historic move. For the first time in Japan, they offered a 1 million yen bounty for information leading to Kazuko's arrest. The case once again became a major focus
Shmoney. We need that shmoney, boy. Oh,
for
boy.
the media, thrusting Kazuko's story into the public eye. Yet, despite the mounting pressure, Kazuko appeared unfazed. Living under the alias Yukiko Nakamura, she frequented a local oden restaurant in Fukui, becoming a regular fixture there. The friendly, cheerful woman known as Yukiko charmed her fellow patrons with karaoke sessions and lively conversations. No one suspected that she was the notorious fugitive they had seen on TV. Not yet. Around the same time, Fuji TV's Nice Day program dedicated almost all its airtime to a special broadcast about Kazuko Fukuda, amplifying the public's awareness of the case. The show repeatedly played a recording of Kazuko's voice. One viewer, a 59-year-old man who was a regular customer at the oden shop, recognized the voice. It sounded just like Yukiko-chan, the woman who sang karaoke with him. He immediately reported his suspicions to the police. Acting on this tip, officers waited until July 29th to bring Kazuko in for voluntary questioning after she visited the restaurant once more. During the interrogation, Kazuko, casually drinking alcohol, refused to have her fingerprints taken.
Dang.
She immediately left the place and stopped visiting the store. Police then asked the restaurant's landlady to provide the bottle Kazuko had been drinking from and other items she had touched. From these items, they were able to lift her fingerprints, and their suspicions were confirmed. The prints were an exact match to those found on Atsuko Yasuoka's body all those years ago.
Dang.
It was Kazuko Fukuda. With just 23 days left before the statute of limitations expired, luck finally turned in the police's favor. Kazuko Fukuda emerged from hiding and was spotted by the oden shop owner, who casually invited her back to the restaurant. The next day, Kazuko returned, unaware the police were closing in. As she left, officers surrounded her. She was finally arrested in 1997,
Dang.
marking the end
Dang. That's like close. That's 15 years, yes.
of her nearly 15 years of running.
She said it.
She was officially indicted for the murder of Atsuko Yasuoka on August 18th of that same year, just 11 hours before the statute of limitations expired.
Dang, bro.
Kazuko Fukuda was sentenced to life imprisonment in May 1999 by the Takamatsu District Court. In one appeal, the defense argued that Kazuko had killed Atsuko out of passion, suggesting a romantic attraction between the two women
Okay.
in hopes of reducing her sentence.
Yeah, that
The
makes
courts
sense.
rejected the appeal,
Yes.
and in 2003, the Supreme Court upheld her life sentence.
Thanks.
In one of her rare interviews, she was asked why she had returned to the oden shop, knowing full well she might get caught. Her response was telling. People who always knew the sunny side of the road will never understand the life of someone who has always lived in the shadows, like me.
Dang.
In March 2005, at the age of 57, Kazuko
57? What the hell?
Fukuda passed away from illness while still incarcerated. She spent 17 years in captivity before her death, and in her final moments, she expressed one last wish: to be remembered as Kazuko Fukuda, not by any of the aliases she had used during her years on the run. This case is not only remarkable because it was the first time a bounty had been placed on a woman's head in Japan, but also because of the nature of Kazuko's fugitive life.
Dang.
Even while on the run, she stayed in regular contact with her family and maintained a confident, almost brazen attitude. When the police searched her home, they discovered a calendar with August 19th marked in red, a symbol of her belief that she would evade capture until the statute of limitation expired.
Dang, bro.
Her arrogance, combined with a long, drawn-out pursuit, captivated the public. But in the end, no matter how far she ran or how much she changed, the weight of her crimes eventually
Man, that plastic surgery is good. You can't even tell she's Asian, bruh. Dang. Bro.
caught up with her, reminding us that justice, though sometimes delayed, is rarely denied. That is all for today. Thanks for watching.
Dang, bro, she was a ghost. Love it. Oh, that was a W story, bro. Man, okay, let's remember what the towns I need to visit. I forgot. Dang it, I forgot. Okay. Anything besides the typical big three, you know, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. I'd love to visit the other towns, you know. I feel like they're very nice and casual, you know what I'm saying? Very, very good vibesy, you know? Oh, man, this was a nice video, man. Would you like crime? Ish. Should I be like a crime channel or like a mystery channel, you know what I'm saying? I'll see, you know what I'm saying? Based on the likes I'll see in the video. If I get like 10 likes on this video and Mr. Ballin video, 10, each 20. If I get 20 likes, I'm gonna do another video like this from her or Mr. Ballin or any other crime channel. Okay? Do you? Peace.